Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, yes, Mr. Speaker, as we await the Supreme Court's guidance on these critical matters, we must recognize that the stakes could not be higher, the health, the well-being of every Filipino. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, my dear Filipino countrymen watching this on live coverage, I rise today with a resolute heart to speak on our national budget, not as a ledger of pesos and centavos, but as a living promise we make to every Filipino who trusts government will safeguard their health, their dignity, and their hope. The numbers we debate are in truth the measure of our compassion, our dignity, our will, and the test of our constitutional duty. These items under the automatic appropriations, particularly the special accounts in the general fund and the use of income in the general fund, is a product of painstaking legislations passed in previous Congresses, fully debated by our illustrious predecessors in the four corners of this legislative hall. The BICAM has practically altered and superseded 13 Republic Acts or special laws, and to include the PhilHealth funds reduction, a total of 14 laws that earmark certain funds from sources already specified as a product of exhaustive debates in both the House and the Senate. The 14 special laws specified under the automatic appropriations, particularly special accounts in the general funds and the utilization of income under the general fund that were altered and superseded by the GAA 2025 are as follows. Number one, RA 11239 or the Special Road Fund. This act amended RA 8794 or the Motor Vehicles User Charge. Number two, RA 8718, RA 9496, and RA 10848 or the Agricultural Competitiveness Fund, ASEP. Number three, RA 8800, 8800, Remedies Fund or the Safeguard Measures Act. Number four, RA 8800 again, or the Competitiveness Enhanced Measures Fund of the Safeguard Measures Act. Number five, RA 10654, or the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Fisheries Management Fund. Number six, RA 9335, or Rewards and Incentive Funds of the Attrition Act of 2005. Number seven, RA 10929, or Spectrum Usage Fund of the Free Internet Access in Public Places. Number 8, RA 9514 or Bureau of Fire Protection Fire Code Income. 9, PD 1529 or Land Registration Fees and Collections. Number 10, RA 9165 or Dangerous Drugs Act. Number 11, RA 9356 or the National Endowment Fund for Culture and the Arts. Number 12, RA 11363 or the National Space Agency Act. Number 13, PD 1234, PD 1854, RA 11435 or Coconut Development Fund and the Coconut Consumer Stabilization Fund. And last but not least is number 14, the Sin Tax Law of 2012. This item may not be the list of SAGF or UIGF, but the law is clear that 80% of the incremental proceeds of the Sin Tax Law will go to universal health care. The central constitutional issue requiring urgent clarification is this. Does Congress, acting through the Bicameral Conference Committee, have any legal authority to increase the amounts allocated to the special accounts in the general fund beyond the actual program expenditures backed by their designated revenue sources? Such actions appear to contravene the well-established principle that SAGFs are intended to be strictly limited to their earmarked revenues and cannot be augmented arbitrarily beyond what is legally mandated. This is far from a procedural technicality. It strikes at the very core of our constitutional framework. These potential violations constitute serious breaches that could undermine the legitimacy of the entire budget process, potentially rendering it null and void. The implications are profound, as such precedents risk empowering future legislatures to disregard constitutional fiscal constraints with impunity. The Constitution vests in Congress the power of the purse, but more more crucially, it requires us to exercise this power with faithfulness to existing statutes. The General Appropriations Act cannot amend or override special laws previously enacted by Congress. This disregard for sanctity of the law undermines not just legislative intent, but the very legitimacy of this institution, and exposes the budget to legal challenge and public condemnation. I call on this august chamber to restore the trust, the confidence, and the integrity of the entire budget process. As a former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriations, it hurts me when I heard these highly repeated comments branding the 2025 national budget as the most corrupt budget ever passed in the history of Philippine Congress. I urge my colleagues, let us not allow short-term expediency or political calculations to compromise the hard-won health rights of our people. Let us remember that the world looked upon us when this chamber passed the sin tax law in 2012. It helped the country garner the first ever investment grade credit rating from international credit rating agencies. Humility aside, I was the main author of the sin tax law of 2012 or Republic Act 10351. For the sake of every Filipino in need, for our duty to the Constitution, for the future of our children and our children's children, I respectfully appeal, let us act now to correct this injustice. Today we face a test whether we uphold these laws in the spirit in which they were crafted and the welfare of the Filipino nation. Let us never forget the power of the force is not ours to wield, but ours to safeguard for the people we serve. Let us wield not just authority, but compassion and justice, for that is the true spirit of public service. Thank you, and may God bless our deliberations and our nation. Daghan salamat. Mr. Speaker, if there's anybody in the hall who wants to ask a question, I'm willing to reply for an interpellation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What are the legal and constitutional questions raised? The increase of 17.992 billion on the line item appropriations of the DPWH Special Road Fund was that sourced from the specific earmarked revenues stipulated by law or Republic Act 11239, which must come from the MBUC, but allegedly sourced from pooled or reallocated sources from other agencies. The main legal and procedural concern is whether Congress, through the BICAM, can increase the amounts in the Special Road Fund beyond what is supported of program for expenditure from the earmarked revenues, and whether such increase sourced from other fund sources violate the enabling laws and constitutional budget process. The main issue here is, can the Special Road Fund be augmented from other sources of appropriations in the GAA? It is explicit in the law that the source of funds for the Special Road Fund shall come from the MBUC tax collection, which shall be remitted to the Bureau of Treasury under a special account in the general fund appropriated in the GAA. Is it right to assume that if the increases are not supported by actual collections from the designated revenue sources, or if they are, or if they alter the nature of the appropriations set by law, these adjustments may be legally questionable and vulnerable to constitutional challenge?